Welcome to the WIPS podcast, inspiring and empowering women to take the stage and up their game in the public speaking arena. My name is Chantal Bossé from Shabus, Leaders for Your Presentation, Public Speaking, and AV Needs. Enjoy the show. So hello, everyone. My guest today is Tarnya Coley, and she's from northwest of England. Welcome, Tarnya. Thank you very much for being with me today.
Thank you.
And I would like to know right away, what's your work or business? What do you do?
I'm currently a lecturer. I have been for the past 15 years.
Wow.
And in health and social care, I teach adults.
Okay.
And I'm also a motivational speaker. And I've just written a book called Open Doors, which will be available on Amazon on Tuesday.
Oh, good for you. So that is really coming up quickly. Good. And I realize you do have experience being a lecturer for the past 15 years.
Yeah.
But would you still consider yourself a shy or outspoken person?
Well, I used to be a very shy person.
Aha!
I'm not outspoken, but I'd say I'm in the middle.
Okay, so you're a great mix of in between.
Yes.
Good. Well, at least it shows to our listeners that we can have a very varied background and still have a public speaking life, so to speak.
Yes.
Because you're a great example of that. And what was probably the first time that you were asked to do public speaking?
Many, many years ago now, but I remember my first experience, and it was the most frightening experience. Everyone's looking at you and you're thinking, am I going to make a mistake? Am I going to say the right thing? Am I going to fall over? You know, so that was a very, very frightening experience.
All the bad scenarios are just coming up in our heads at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, well, how was it finally? Even though you had all these little things nagging you in your head about the bad things that could happen,
Yeah.
How was it?
In the end, it was okay.
Okay.
But you can learn from your first experience and how to make it better for the next time. But it was an okay experience. Yeah.
You're right, because if we start to learn about what happened and how we can improve,
Yeah.
usually it will just make us a better person in front of an audience later on.
Yeah, it will.
And I was just wondering, that was the first frightening one, but throughout your career up to date, do you remember having, I don't know, maybe let's call it a very challenging experience or something you would say, oh, that was the bad one for whatever reason?
Well, yeah, when I first started speaking, I was speaking to a bunch of students.
Okay.
On a sociological perspective. And I had this particular student that would always come in every morning, tired, put her head down on the table and fall asleep.
Oh, no.
I know, and I thought, am I really that bad?
That bad. Oh, I can understand that. That feels bad.
Yeah. And then I was starting to judge her, thinking, can't she go to bed early? Can she not just pretend to stay focused? And I had a conversation with her, and it unveiled that she had something to share with me. And she said, can I share something with you? And I said, that sounded a little bit serious. And I thought, okay, is it going to be something that's going to harm you, or are you in danger? And if it is, I'm going to have to share that with someone. And she said, well, it is, and I don't mind you sharing it. So I thought, this is a cry for help.
Ooh.
And it was actually a safeguarding issue. And she was being abused at home by her dad. And that was interesting. And that was my first experience of that kind of safeguarding issue.
Oh,
and I had to share that with the manager. And I had to learn that you can't judge people. You know, you've got to actually have that conversation and have that dialogue.
You're right. And you brought chills because how precious is that she felt comfortable enough to share that situation with you. That's amazing. And as you mentioned, what you learn from it is probably being opened and not judging people. That's really an important learning part of that experience. That must have been. Did you encounter other types of challenges like that later on?
Yes. Recently, a student came in very, very distressed, and that wasn't her usual self. She was very bubbly, outgoing.
Yes.
And I said, "What's the matter?" And she said, I need to speak to you in another room. And I thought, okay, this is very serious. And
wow.
disclosed to me, this was at Christmas time, that her son, he was only in his 20s, was murdered.
Oh no.
On holiday, Boxing Day. And that was very, very, very distressing.
I guess so. And I'm curious, how did you manage afterwards? Because you had to go up in front of the room and speak and deliver. How did you manage that?
So I had to compose myself.
Yes.
And she's a very resilient person. She went back in the classroom.
Wow.
A very supportive class. I went in and I delivered what I had to deliver, and then we went on a quick break. And she actually shared with the class what happened.
Oh,
I know. And I thought, wow, obviously this is like a cry for help, wanting that support.
Yes.
And the class was very supportive. They gathered together the money for her to go and fly over to go and see her son.
Wow.
And it really, really a humbling experience.
Oh, it must have been. And wow, I'm just amazed at the atmosphere that you're creating in the class, because those two stories you just shared are really an amazing example of how we can be of service in front of a room, because you do have content to deliver, but you've been able to help out people in very difficult times. Oh, wow, that is amazing. I thank you for sharing those stories, because I'm sure it will help other people realize what a difference they can make. And those were, challenging stories, I must say. But do you have another experience, something that would be either truly amazing, something you remember as being one of your greatest memories, maybe?
I have lots of memories over the years.
I guess so.
But something that really stood out to me, I was reflecting, I wrote it in my book, when I was teaching in a high school, and I was part of a Learning to Lead initiative, is helping young people to become leaders. And we were raising money for charity. Wow. And they decided, why not do a concert? And I was like, oh, okay. So I said,
that's interesting.
Yeah. How are we going to do this concert? So they said it's going to be like a Britain's Got Talent type of show.
Ooh.
So because I worked at Whalley Range High School, they called it Wally's Got Talent. And so over the course of the week, we had to do auditions. So people were auditioning, the students were auditioning, and then we had to whittle it down to a certain amount of acts. And they decided in the evening after school, we're going to put on this show for the community as well. So family and friends can come. And we have a Children in Need in around about November time. It's raising money for children that are disadvantaged.
Okay.
So we said, that's going to be our initiative. So we have a thing called Pudsey Bear. And it's a massive, massive bear that someone can get dressed up in. So I contacted the BBC, which is in England, and they said, yes, you can hire it, go for it. And we put on an amazing concert. The teachers got involved there with the judges. The students won prizes, and we raised over £1,000.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And what a great also leadership story that you're just telling us, by being confident enough to raise that money, but put on that event. Congratulations. That's a great thing. Wow. Yeah. I'm really amazed by my old podcast experience, because I get all those shared stories that are really inspiring, and you are. So thank you for sharing.
It's okay.
And we're women. We're always a little bit self-conscious.
Yes.
So my next question is, what would be one wardrobe tip that you would share for women so they would be comfortable in front of a room?
A wardrobe tip is wear something comfortable, because sometimes we can put on something because it looks nice, but you have to remember you're going to be walking up and down the stage. You're going to, people are going to like to take pictures of you.
True.
So you've got to look comfortable. I like to wear a dress. It's all in one, so I don't have to worry about it pulling down. I don't have to worry about my tights. I don't have to worry about the dress, and I'm okay. And it's comfortable.
Oh, that's a great word of wisdom, because the more we're pulling and tugging, the less we're concentrating on what we're saying.
Exactly.
That's a good one. And finally, what would be your one tip that would empower women to take the stage more confidently?
Wow, a tip. Got many, many tips, but I think a really good tip is be yourself. Be you. Because sometimes we can want to be like the other person because they're more charismatic, they're more charming, they have more jokes. Well, that's not you. You've got to be who you are. And that's who the audience fall in love with, because they can connect with you, build a rapport with you, a relationship with just simply being yourself. And I think that's really important.
Oh, you are right. That is, like you say, you probably have tons of tips you could share, but that one is so valuable, because if we start wanting to be like other people, that's when we'll probably be even more self-conscious and trying to play a role. Yeah. Which is not good.
It's not good at all.
Well, Tarnya, I thank you so much. That was such a pleasant talk and also inspiring. I'm sure that people will be able to relate and see that we can have such great experiences and also make a difference on people while public speaking. So I thank you again, and people will be able to reach out to you. And also, I'll put a link for your book so they'll be able to have a peek and encourage you with that book.
Great.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Please tell us what you think by commenting, and even share with your own networks to inspire and empower others to do public speaking.